Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Good Wednesday morning. This is Run It Back. This is FanDuel TV. This is an NBA-driven show. I'd like to introduce everyone this morning. Charania, who will be speaking a lot today. I'm already predicting that for you. Feeling good about that?
More than yesterday, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Chandler P. Still not wearing pants. Thankfully, you don't get to see that. Danny Green in today.
Danny Green in the house.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Good to be back.
Good Lord, Shams. I have 9 jobs, and you basically interrupted all of them yesterday with the breaking news. But I liked it because it made me look like a genius. But the Bucks fire their coach. They're not doing poorly. What is going on?
For sure, shocking to everyone.
Sure.
Externally, 30-13, second best record in the league, but there's been mounting. This didn't just happen overnight, and they wanted to maximize their abilities. They know with Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they need to win it. They need to contend for an NBA championship this year, and the roster top down from their best players to the back end of their roster. They simply were not responding to Adrian Griffin and key officials on the Bucks team too. This goes beyond just the players. They lost confidence in Adrian Griffin, his ability to create the right schemes, his ability to communicate those schemes, his adjustments, and the Bucks simply, the players had lost faith in Adrian Griffin. He had lost the team. And Michelle, it got to the point where in early December, I'm told the Bucks went and sought Doc Rivers out to be essentially a special consultant and an informal consultant to Adrian Griffin. So picture this, Adrian Griffin, Doc Rivers, Bucks key officials all in meetings starting in Vegas during the in-season tournament. That's really when the beginning of this process of, at first it was like mentorship and trying to figure out a way to allow Adrian Griffin to finish out this season. But now, a month and a half later, Doc Rivers is the leader to be the new head coach of this Bucks team. The sides are working toward a deal, I'm told, last night and this morning. The Bucks have looked at a couple other candidates, Nate McMillan's name potentially if these negotiations don't finish off with Doc Rivers. But they want to get a deal done fast. I'm told they're trying to hire a coach, Doc Rivers, as soon as possible because the clock is ticking on this season. And they know this window with Damian Lillard still in his prime and Giannis, it's short. This is a championship team. The expectations changed when they got Dame there. And, Doc Rivers seems to be on his way. Marquette alum. He's got his jersey hanging at their arena rafters. So this is, this is something that's moving here.
Cutthroat, very Game of Thrones. I know you were surprised, Chandler, because when the texts started going between us, you thought we were talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's how I know you weren't thinking no, they couldn't possibly be Adrian Griffin. So what did you think?
I was very surprised, and clearly this was something to do with the personality and loss of the locker room and just all around just respect for this guy because at the end of the day, they're 30-13. They're second in the East. They're 3.5 games behind the Boston Celtics, who everyone's so scared of and has as their contender. It's shocking because it's such a small sample size, but clearly they are in a win-now situation where they don't have confidence and they've lost all faith where they'd rather pull the plug now. Who cares about his guaranteed 3-year deal moving forward? They want a guy right now who can earn the respect of those players, make in-game defensive schemes. The whole thing about how his defense is bad, that I don't think is fair. That they traded their best defensive player, Drew Holiday, and they got one of the better scoring point guards, but Dame is not that great of a defender. So, of course, their defense is going to take a hit. I just think this is more of a personality trait. This is more of a locker room issue. The Bobby Portis having team meetings early on, the issue with Terry Stott early on. There's clearly been stuff behind the scenes where there's been issues going on. But, yeah, I think I hate the raw deal that NBA coaches get. And now it's just a cesspool. Let's go hire someone who's already had multiple chances. And Nate McMillan and Doc Rivers, who've been fired for the same reasons for another organization, let's go bring them in. They'll change it.
Well, your ex-wife will marry another.
Yeah, exactly.
So it works out.
And let's also hire my next wife to help my current
just
wife.
Just to be standing over there waiting.
Switch them. It's a cesspool, and I think it's pathetic how the NBA coaching search.
I think there's a word
happens.
for that. No, I'm not.
I know, right? It's like, were you shocked?
I was shocked. But the Terry Stotts incident was a sign early on. I love Griff. I had Griff in Toronto. I'd never had him as a head coach, but he was great. I think, as I said, the locker room situation was the end of the day type of decision. So I was shocked. I didn't think it would happen this fast, this soon, but obviously given the sense of urgency that Milwaukee has of winning with the group. Everybody's explained that. Giannis and Dame, they don't have but so many years left. So yeah, I think Doc is a good fit. We'll see if it happens.
Well, I'm gonna ask you that because you played for him in Philly. So when you hear Doc is most likely going to get this job,
I think he's a good fit. I think he knows how to coach certain players, and I think they'll respect him. I think that's the biggest thing with Griff that he was lacking from the locker room was probably the respect factor. So the in-game adjustments, they were winning games. They were second in the East, but the way they were winning wasn't great. They should be better. Everybody expected them to look better. The games that they were losing, the in-season tournament, losing to Indiana had their number. Losing multiple games to Indiana, I think, was a sign. If the playoffs come and we can't make adjustments to beat these type of teams, or we match up with the team, they didn't trust Griff to make those adjustments to when the game slows down and win the playoffs.
Yeah, and a lot of this team, we're talking about how talented they are. A lot of these wins just come from pure talent, pure offensive firepower, where Dame goes for 39, Giannis has these big games. So I understand from that aspect. And Doc Rivers, as an experienced player like a Giannis, like Dame, these Hall of Fame players, they have to respect the head coach. They have to have seen him come from somewhere before where they've handled superstar players like that. And Doc Rivers has done that. He knows how to work a locker room. He knows how to give the speeches. Now, I don't know if the in-game situations and his schemes, if they're going to just magically play, but to me, Danny, now it's on the players. We made the trade. We fired your coach. Now, defense is 90% effort. So if these guys now, if Doc can get that out of them, sure, great, it looks good. But to me, Doc's not just going to come in here and sprinkle good defense in the locker room.
I think he knows how to light a fire, though. I will say he knows how to light a fire. He knows how to get the best out of some of his guys. I don't know if you've seen him on with KG and Paul talking about the days in Boston, but he knew how to get under certain guys' skin to get them to play hard. He'll attack KG in different ways. He'll attack Paul in different ways. So I think he knows how to, not say micromanage, but he knows how to manage certain egos. He knows how to get guys to play play harder defensively and light a fire in them. So that's one thing I know he will change. They will respect him, and he will find a way to get those guys to play hard on defense.
And teams have done this before. Like Atlanta, when they hired Lloyd Pierce, they hired Nate McMillan, who was basically his replacement. Right? So they did the same thing with Beeline and JB Bickerstaff in Cleveland, where they know that basically your replacement is in that office right next to you. And it kind of feels like this with Doc, hired him as a consultant, knowing that one day, as soon as you mess up or as soon as you lose the locker room, this guy's taking your job.
That's a weird look. I get every business has a backup plan. There's a succession plan, all of those good things. But it's odd to have hired him, then bring Doc in and just sort of have him. I mean, I just picture it as like lingering in the corner, just waiting. I get it, business is business, but
the business.
It is kind of slimy feeling, though.
And to me, when you look at this team, obviously we know how talented they are. We know they're going to win games just based off that. But we talk about the Thunder coach, Mark Daigneault.
Sure.
We talk about Chris Finch, how good of a job they're doing. What are their records? 30-13. So it's like these guys are Coach of the Year candidates, and then this guy's getting fired with the same exact record. It's just, I get it. There needs to be adjustments. You got to have the morale in the locker room and the team. We all got to be on the same page. But to me, Griffin got shafted.
Does Griffin sign an NDA, or will he be able to talk about all this? Because that's what I want to hear.
I mean, it seemed like he did at least a couple interviews, and all he did was support the Bucks. Listen, I spoke to a few people in the locker room, players. To me, two things that stand out. You need to have a coach that you respect, and the other thing is, this is a Bucks team, when you think about it, they're not used to this type of turbulence as an organization. We don't see a mid-season change out of this organization. Obviously, having Mike Budenholzer there was a string of years of stability. They haven't had this in really a really long time since Giannis Antetokounmpo's been there. So this is a team right now with Damian Lillard. He's got hopefully 2, 3, 4 more years left in his prime. They got Giannis still going strong. Obviously, they have to make it happen now. And they simply felt like Adrian Griffin was not going to get the job done in the playoffs when it mattered most. And they made this assessment in January.
No, they just thought he wasn't going to be able to get it done.
Yeah.
We think of you guys sometimes as robots, like the players, like, oh, just you can do whatever, they'll be fine. But changing a coach mid-season, is it weird? Does it take time?
Yeah, I've never had a coaching change mid-season, but I have been traded mid-season. So I would assume it's similar, going from one situation to another and trying to figure it out on the fly, moving your whole family. It's going to be an interesting move for me, but I think Doc has said if you're going to find somebody that's experienced and that has respect to do it midseason, he's the guy to bring in and to make things, I wouldn't say ship it the right way, but at least keep it under control.
I had Fizdale get fired in Memphis when I was there, and I hated it because I loved Fizdale, and I didn't think that was the right move. I thought that's a whole other story with him and Gasol, and that was more personal, which this feels like to me too. But there's a honeymoon phase where, okay, great, a breath of fresh air. It's like when you trade for a player, this is just going to change everything. There's a different feel in the facility. There's an energy. And I think that's what's going to happen here. And again, I think now the onus falls on the players where they have to, or else the next one to go is a player to get traded. You know what I mean? They're not, this is it. The coaching change they make, this guy's here, and they already done that. They already made the big trade for Dame Lillard. So now they have their team, and whoever they hire, that's going to be their coach moving forward. So now it's on the players because they have to have that responsibility to defend and play hard and win games, or they're going to be next.
Yeah, you can't do this again.
Danny, I mean, you played with Doc, and you had him when you guys had some star players there in Philadelphia. How do you think Doc is going to manage, or could manage Giannis and Dame? You saw him with Ben and Joel.
I think he's going to challenge Dame on the defensive end first and foremost. Obviously, he's going to challenge Giannis, but Giannis is a little different in that aspect. Giannis is a different motor. I'm not saying Dame doesn't, but on the defensive end of the floor, we know, he's the guy that people sought out or going to pick out on the playoffs. When the playoffs slow down, they're going to find the mismatch, and they're going to go Dame. Dame's a smaller guard. He's not known for defense, not saying he can't, but I think Doc is going to challenge him the way he did with Tyrese Maxey. And Tyrese is the player he is today. I think a lot has to do with how Doc challenged him. So I think he's going to challenge Dame. He's going to challenge the rest of the guys. But like Chandler was saying, if this doesn't work out, I think they're going to make some moves with players. They paid a lot of guys there to win. They're very talented. This is a win-now situation. If they don't win now, whether it's with Doc or not, they're going to move. Something's going to happen this summer with the player situation.
And I imagine Doc won't be cheap either. Like, that's going to be another bunch of money.
Double fig.
He knows his worth.
Yeah, like that's...
He's making a lot more than Griffin was. And he just got fired from Philly for not being able to manage these egos.
And what about Doris Burke? No one's asking the tough questions.
And now what's ESPN going to do?
No, it's all falling apart.
Yeah, who knows?
Got rid of Mark and Jet. I don't know what's going on. We could spend another hour on that, and I'd love to. But we had a game last night, the battle for L.A.
Always a fun
Well,
one.
look, they didn't have LeBron, so we can start there. But the Clippers got him 127-116. Kawhi with a triple-double, only his second career triple-double. That doesn't even make sense to me. They are 11-2 over their last 13 games. They're a game and a half back right now at a first in the West. Chandler, I know you and Lou both love the Clippers. I'm starting to kind of see your ways here. Sticking with it?
Yes, I like them. I like them a lot. I think they're experienced. They defend. They can score in multiple different ways. They're deep. When you look at Boston and Denver, I like their starting fives, but they don't have the depth that these guys have. Terrence Mann is now getting his legs. James Harden's more comfortable. Kawhi Leonard is as healthy as we've seen him in recent years. So I do like this team a lot. They have size. Like I said, they can go small. They can switch 1 through 5. So I think this team has it all. They've all been there before. They're all happy. They're all from LA. It seems like all's working right now. They have a great coach that they all seem to be. It's just a great vibe right now for them. And I think they're the team to beat in the Western Conference.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I didn't see this. I'll be the first to tell you, admit that I was wrong. When the trade happened, I didn't think that it would fit. I didn't think they would mesh, but they've figured it out. Ty Lue has got these guys playing at a different level. Russ has taken a back seat to come off the bench and playing limited minutes, but being very effective in doing that. And also James being, a little bit more passive at the point guard's position. So I didn't see this coming, but they're playing, great basketball right now. And I can see them being a force to be reckoned with when the playoffs come. Their biggest issue is health.
Yeah.
If they can stay healthy, they're going to be one of the best teams, them in Denver right now for me.
Look, sometimes we get it wrong. We might have gotten this one wrong.
No. Me and Lou have been hot.
No, not from the beginning. Not when the Harden thing first happened.
No, we kept saying, listen,
because
we
they lost
like
5
3
or 6?
4 or whatever in a row. We said, listen, as soon as they go on a winning streak, we're never going to talk about this again.
The world was
Run the
chaos.
tapes. Run the tapes.
The world was coming in when they lost 6 in a row. But you know what? I will say I've been to several Clippers games ever since that whole stint. The Russell Westbrook, I think we have to give him a lot of credit.
For sure.
The way he comes off the bench and changes games, his ability to be a spark plug, it might not happen every night, but I've seen more often than not, he comes in and he changes the tenor of the game. He'll have bursts in the fourth quarter where he'll score like 6, 7, 8 points and have all these dashing rebounds and assists, and the energy he plays with. The fact that he bought into that role, I mean, you have to give him a lot of credit because it's this
that
element that they
20-point
didn't have.
comeback against Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's just his energy alone. Him cheering on the sidelines,
Love
him
it.
embracing that role, him bringing that energy allows everybody else to just be comfortable. Like
I see
James
him
doesn't have to worry
dancing
about
a lot on the sideline now.
He
Like,
doesn't have to worry about stepping
fun.
anybody's toes. They're just playing with a lot of fun. He's free and he's leading the charge with the fun.
He's completely shifted his mindset now to, first team all defense is what he's saying in the post game. So now he doesn't care about the whole starting, not starting. That's all just an old memory. Now he's just focused. He's accepted this new role and he's really thrived at it.
It's been fun to watch. I didn't mind being wrong about this one so far. We talked a little bit yesterday. Danny Lou was talking about how this is sort of the guys on the trading block are basically auditioning now. Every time they go out, it's a glorified audition. Well, D'Angelo Russell would probably fall into that category. Last 5 games, he's averaging 25, 7, and 3, and he's shooting 50% from 3. Is he auditioning right now?
I think when you wouldn't say get traded, or if you get traded to LA, or if you end up signing with the Lakers, I think every night you're auditioning.
Damn.
When you're playing with a LeBron James team, at any moment, things can change and big moves can happen. So, and that's for most teams that are contenders when they're not doing things, or they're not where they're supposed to be by the deadline, whether it's Milwaukee, whether it's Philly, whether it's the Lakers. Any major market team that's supposed to be winning, and if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, by the deadline, everybody's auditioning and is up for, unless it's their main superstars or franchise guys they're not letting go of. There's probably only 2 of those guys are untouchable, but Golden State, they have those 3 or 4 guys you thought they would never get off of, or at least the main 3 anyway. But right now, it looks like only one person's
Everyone but
untouchable.
Steph. Yeah.
And
Dave's been watching running back.
I know, everyone but Steph.
And at this point in D'Lo's career, teams know what he can do. They know what he can provide. Now it's just about matching it up, making sense for a move. But he's a scoring guard that can either start, he can come off the bench, he can shoot the ball, he can provide that offense. So yeah, he is auditioning, and I give him kudos because he's not getting distracted by all these rumors. It's not letting it get to his head. There's obviously the viral video. It looked like he was crying on the bench. That's clearly not a thing. So yeah, he's playing well, and he's handling this situation very well. Because it's not easy to hear your names in trade deadline and trade talks, then have to go to the facility and watch film, and you're not even knowing if you're going to be on this team the following
Do you not
week.
if you're a guy that's being on the trade block, and for example, like a LeBron team, do you look at those guys differently when you come in because you're thinking, are they trying to get rid of me?
I think you're silly to not know it coming in that there's a possibility that you might be shipped out at some point. But I could see that years ago. I feel like there was a situation with the Lakers and Lamar Odom. His name was in trade talks, and it spiraled downhill after that, especially for him. So it's hard to stay committed. It's hard to keep focus. It's hard to stay, keep the love for the game when you're constantly in these rumors and talks. But I give a lot of kudos to D'Angelo for staying professional, not letting it affect his game, playing at a high level right now, and not allowing the situation to make him play at a lower level than he normally plays.
It's also easy to say it's a business until it's your business.
Exactly.
And you're involved in it.
No, it feels like that today. Like we say it's a business, and the guy got fired for seemingly having a great team, and it just feels weird.
And it's a business when Kyle Lowry gets shipped to Charlotte in a trade, right? But then when it happens to you, you're offended, you're pissed off, and it hurts your personal relationships.
It wouldn't be a business if it wasn't a little slimy.
I guess so. You got to do something. You were at the game, so let's start. Any movement with the Lakers, the D-Lo of it all? We keep talking about it, but is something happening?
I mean, you have to give D'Angelo Russell a lot of credit for the way he's playing. 5 of the last 6 games, he's had 20 points or more. I mean, just this month overall, 23 points per game, 6-7 assists a game. His splits are, amazing. 51 from the field, 47 from 3. So he's playing at a high level. I'm sure there's going to be a level of interest in him around the league. The Lakers, I'm told, they're continuing to monitor 2 players. I think the two guys at the forefront of their targets list going to the trade deadline, DeJounte Murray of Atlanta and Bruce Brown Jr. of Toronto. Those are 2 guys I think they continue to monitor. I expect those conversations to continue as the next week and a half, 2 weeks go on. But they only have so many players that you could use in a deal, right? D'Angelo Russell, you have guys like Rui Hachimura. Don't want to trade Austin Reeves for the Lakers, so there's only a couple really guys that could have some value there, and they have 1 first-round pick they can trade now, or they can save it until the draft, and then they could have 3 first-round picks on draft night to trade. So the Lakers have a few decisions here. Do you save your first-round pick for draft time? Do you trade it now? That's obviously we're gonna see over the next couple weeks.
I had a question for you, and I know we're probably gonna talk about this later in the show. I think we are. But there was a big target for the Lakers early on. I'm wondering why it's quieted down. Zach LaVine, why is that not been on the board as much.
I think there's, from everything I understand, there's still interest in Zach LaVine. The thing that makes it a little difficult is the Bulls' price for Zach LaVine,
Gotcha.
and also the fact that Zach LaVine is making 3 years, $140 million after this season, and the fact that you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, bringing in another big money player. We saw them do that with Russell Westbrook a few years ago, and I don't know if there's still some bad taste as far as how that shook out, but clearly, you know, they don't want to part ways with assets. They don't want to part ways with Austin Reeves. And right now, Zach LaVine is out. He's going to be out at least the next 1 to 2 weeks with an ankle sprain.
That doesn't help.
He missed 17 games before that with a foot issue. So I think anything can change. I think there's still a level of interest. Could they circle back before the deadline? Sure. But I think they have other priorities.
What's interesting to me is this team kind of made that switch last year and got shooting and then kind of took off. Now they're talking about trading D'Angelo Russell and getting Bruce Brown and John Jameer who can't shoot. So like that.
I wouldn't say can't shoot.
But I'm saying
they're
like
not shooters.
They're not exactly shooters.
Yes.
So to me,
Bruce
it's like
Brown did shoot very well last year in the playoffs.
Yes,
but
but
these guys are more. He's more of a defensive guy. Johnson's more of a slasher, ball handler. But yes,
so
to
now
your
you're
point,
trying to give up one of your better shooters to get one of these other assets that I don't know if that fit on the court is what they need.
How much of it sometimes is just the need to do something, to make
Just
a
switch it up.
change, and just feel like, okay, we've tried.
I think that's for mid-tier, lower-tier teams. The contenders, I don't think you just need to do something just to do something.
Yeah, they're trying to make a move to get
has
them
to
over
make
the
sense.
edge.
Yeah.
They're trying
Well,
to.
Think about it,
makes
they're in the
sense.
play-in right now. Like they're not like even last year they were fighting in the play-in and then
How
they
many
made
games
those
back
moves.
is that?
You're right. I mean,
With LeBron James healthy, Anthony Davis
it's-
playing, that's nothing for them to make up with a good stretch. And D'Angelo, with the group they had last year, they could make those games up fairly quickly. So doing something just to do something, I wouldn't say they're contenders, but they're still a team that's a really good playoff team. Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're 4 or 5 games out of the 5 seed.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me yesterday, I mean, think about it. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. That starting 5 that went to the Western Conference Finals, they played 3 minutes this year. I mean, as players, like,
weird.
how would you feel in the locker room? Like, would that
It's
be a
frustrating.
topic?
And you guys, they signed Gabe Vincent, who hasn't been able to play most of the season. So I'm
So I
still
think he's
interested
really
to see
important.
how that happens when if he's able to come back, how that works, and able to get more minutes on the road with the group that you had last year.
All right, we're all waiting to see who is Gabe Vincent, because we don't know yet. We don't know what version this will look like.
The Laker Gabe Vincent anyway. We know the Miami Gabe Vincent.
we know that one that got here. So
He's
I have no idea what
critical,
to
I
expect.
think. He's their starting point guard when he's healthy. That allows these other guys to come off the bench. That allows Austin Reeves to go at these second defenders. So he is big to me. You see how well he is in the postseason for Miami. He's an experienced player. He can shoot the ball. So I do expect him to get a little bit better when he's back.
We had a moment last night. I love a Russell Westbrook video moment. I think they're the gifts that keep on giving. And here's one of those now. Whee!
Do you think he did it on purpose?
It felt
Seemed
weird.
like he had it back on there. And
This is kind of
picked it
hard
up.
to do in an NBA game, right?
Yeah, the last time I've seen that, Mike Miller.
Oh.
Big one.
Miami?
Yeah, I was on the button. We were on the back.
Remember this happened one time and Tyson Chandler grabbed it and threw it and got,
Yes.
and got teed up.
That was a good one.
Yeah, but this is impressive. This is he still managed to get the 2 for
And
1
get
off
back on
too.
defense too. He
Yeah.
didn't even think to go.
And
get
he
the
got
shoe.
back on D.
Yeah, he
got
didn't
the
say,
2 for
"I'll
1."
get
No
the shoe."
one
He
wears
went back
high
and played
tops
defense.
anymore. How come it's just all low?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd like to go. I'd like to do an hour special on that at some point.
High
So-
tops versus low tops.
Yeah, like
Michelle
what
Beadle.
happened? I know. I'd like to
Featuring
know.
Michelle
I'd like to
Beadle.
know the thinking behind that. Maybe our next guest will have some ideas. I'll just go rogue on that. But when we come back, quick break now. Kenny Beecham, Chandler joins the show.
My man.
We're gonna pick his brain for some hoops talk. Run it back.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, the run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
He's back, co-founder of Enjoy Basketball, host of the Kenny Beecham podcast. It's Kenny Beecham. And look, we got a lot of really important basketball news, Kenny, and we're always happy you're here. But the most important question I can come up with is the fact that we had Paul Scheer on Monday's show, and he said that Space Jam is a horrible movie. You're from Chicago with MJ.
Yeah.
Where are you on this?
As someone that's watched Space Jam like 100 times in my life, I can't get behind Paul's take here. I'm sorry.
There it is.
Now, I know he's a movie guy, and I respect his opinion on movies more than a lot of people, but just the nostalgia factor is enough for me to say it's a good movie.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Like, Maybe I'll rewatch it, but
We were younger when it came out, so as a kid, you're a little more inspired by watching it.
I think if we
Yeah.
watched it tonight, we'd
As
be
a-
like, wow, this movie sucks.
Watching it as an adult is probably
That does
Paul
happen.
might have watched it as an adult. When
Might
it
have.
came- Yeah, so I don't.
all right, homework assignment. Rewatch it. Come back. We'll talk about it. I can do that.
I like how he said, it's Michael Jordan. Why is he living in that 2-bedroom house?
It's
like he's
suspend
playing
reality.
himself. Why is this house bigger?
That was fair.
Kenny, obviously yesterday, a lot of news around the league, but especially in Milwaukee. The Bucks firing Adrian Griffin, Doc Rivers appears to be in line to take over. What are your thoughts? Who do you think the Bucks should hire?
It's hard to have a real good short list halfway through the season. Before the season started, obviously they had Kenny Atkinson, they had Nick Nurse, who's looking amazing in Philadelphia, and they opted to go with the first-time head coach. And a lot of that was because he had the backing of Giannis and everything. Of the people available, I'm guessing Doc is the best. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. Obviously, in 2008, he had the good run with the Boston Celtics, but since then, he's failed to make it past the second round of the playoffs in most cases. Obviously, he's also never coached a talent like Giannis. So maybe Doc is the right answer. We just have to wait and see, I guess.
You know what they say? You can tell when somebody's lying.
Yeah.
When their pitch,
High pitch.
tone goes up. His tone was.
Calling Kenny
It was
out.
on the opera.
I'm Ron
how he's
Burgundy.
singing. I guess he's the best.
I mean, it's very, we don't know. It's like, that's what's weird about firing a guy so early, but it's fine. It's been done. It's over. We had a lot of breaking news yesterday. Shams was a busy, busy man. Terry Rozier, in the middle of the show, was traded to Miami. What do you think about that deal? How does it look for the Heat moving forward?
I love it because they've obviously struggled recently offensively. Like I've watched a bunch of their games, and even when Jimmy Butler's back, Jimmy's just such a passive guy in the regular season, something I don't really understand, but they just needed another guy that could go out there and get a bucket, and Terry Rozier has had a very underrated season. The only thing that I worry about a little bit this year is that he's shooting 30% on catch and shoot shots. Obviously, in Miami, he won't have the ball as much as he did in Charlotte, especially when LaMelo was out. But, like, historically, he's been like a 40% catch-and-shoot guy. So maybe under Miami, he can get back to that. They just needed another bucket. And Terry Rozier has had such great performances in Charlotte. He's been a big shot maker for Charlotte in the few close games they've had over the last 2 seasons. So I love it. I mean, I hate it for Kyle Lowry, obviously, but I think he'll be fine with the bag that he got a few years back. So.
Kenny, everyone, Zach LaVine, he's a name that we've been hearing for a very long time. He's been out with an ankle injury, and the Bulls kind of look good without him. Does he get traded before the deadline? And if so, do they just completely blow it up, trade DeMar, get rid of everybody?
I've been waiting for the Shams update that it's happened. But with the injury and something that I'm sure everybody agrees on, when you have a player of Zach LaVine's caliber, we've seen it here in Chicago, he's not going to be your one option. In a lot of cases, he's probably not going to be your 2 option on a very good team. So why should we pay him $40 million annually to be the 3rd best player on the team? And I think that's where the hiccup is. The Bulls have made the least amount of trades since 2021. So I'm assuming that means the front office is holding on to all the assets and asking for crazy returns. I'm hoping that we get the trade done, mostly for Zach's sake, because even when he came back from the first injury, you can tell that he was very passive. He didn't want to step on any toes. Kobe White was playing very well. I think a change of scenery is necessary, but I don't know how likely it is because the contract is so big.
So what is the deal you would most likely to see happen before the deadline?
For the Bulls?
Ooh, for anyone.
For anyone.
Wow.
Oh, for anyone, I kind of want to see the 76ers buy in a little bit.
Okay.
I know they've preached flexibility from the offseason standpoint, and I completely understand that. But I feel like there are some people on the market that you can trade for right now and maintain that flexibility come offseason. I think Joel Embiid is playing some of the best basketball I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. I understand the critics, like we got to get past the second round. We got to play all these games in the playoffs. But just looking at the regular season, he's having his best year, and I think that they need another guy on the team that can create their own shot outside of just him and Tyrese Maxey. Again, I don't know who that guy necessarily is, but them just sitting on the expiring contracts and those 2 additional first-round picks that the Clippers gave them would probably be a mistake, in my opinion.
I wonder if that answer will be the answer to my question, because I wanted to ask you, give me a team that will absolutely not win a title unless they make a move.
Yeah.
Same?
It is.
We're sticking
It
with
is Philly. It is
So
Philly.
they have to do something. That's
Fair
just
enough.
the way it is. Look, whoever did the Dak Prescott, Joel Embiid memes the other day, that's not cool, but also kind of funny. And I feel like that's what I'm hearing is like until they can get over that hump, we can't do much with it. So you need another
Yeah.
piece.
The man just dropped 70, and everybody was like, well, in the playoffs, he don't play well. So it's just like he needs it for his own legacy. He needs it for his own respect factor, because nobody is going to deny the fact that he's one of the top talents in basketball. But all the other top talents in basketball either have a conference finals appearance, an NBA finals appearance, or a championship. And he has none of those things, and he's about to be 30. So even he mentioned it in his post game, like, I dropped 70, but it doesn't matter because I haven't played well in the playoffs. It's like, this is such a great moment for him. But we're talking about April, May, and June instead
It's
of
crazy he said 30 like it's old, but
Well.
but to be fair, Joel, from what I can remember, he hasn't been healthy most of the playoff runs. He's broken his face, he's broken his hand. He's always had injuries.
Broken his
So hopefully
face.
this year, this playoff coming, he'll be healthy, and then he can show you that he's not Dak Prescott.
Kenny, sticking with Joel, obviously we know about the big game the other night, looking like the front runner for the MVP. He has missed 10 games, so do you think the NBA is going to regret this whole threshold of, the 65-game minimum for these awards?
I think that the first year's trial, they're going to keep it. They're going to keep it for year number 2. Because I'm looking at Joel Embiid's success and how dominant he is. The number 2 option in this, if Joel Embiid fails to hit the 65-game threshold, it's not like we're falling off from the best player of the league to somebody that's not that. It's the guy right under him, which is Nikola Jokic, who's almost equally as valuable when it comes to this MVP award. So I think that no matter what, we're going to have an MVP that we feel very confident and good about. But I think that Joel Embiid right now, again, just thinking about the first 41 games of the regular season, he's been head and shoulders above everybody. I mean, he's putting up legendary stuff. And I think that the NBA also added something where you can refute some of the games missed. So maybe we get that from Joel Embiid, where he ends up with 63 games.
Enough.
How does that
he
even
gets there.
work?
2 or 3 games.
What do you mean? You
refute
missed the games.
this.
How are you going to refute them?
What do you
I
think,
refute it.
What do you think the number should be? Asking
I think
everybody.
there should be a number. If
70?
you play 64 games and you're as dominant as Joel Embiid, you're the MVP.
Okay, but what if you play
But if he
50
plays
games
less
and you're
than
as
60
dominant?
games,
then don't vote for him. Like, I don't think there should be a threshold of games.
Well, that's not going to happen. There's
You know
people
what I mean?
that don't deserve to be an All-Star.
Think about if Joel plays 64
Yeah.
games and Joker plays 66, he gets to win it, even though Joel had a
Well,
better
you're
season.
picking
This should
literally
be
the
one or
But that's going to
thinnest
happen one of these
margins.
years, and we're going to be like, damn, he got screwed.
Well, let's wait till
so.
we get to there.
Kenny, my next question to you is, because I know my answer, Wemby,
Here we go.
Chet, Rookie of the Year. I think it's...
Don't lead the witness. Go on.
Who is your Rookie of the Year and why?
If the season was in right now, it would be Chet.
Come on.
But I think that once we get to April, it's going to be Wemby.
There we go.
Like, he's trending upward.
Kenny, I agree with all your takes till right now. Don't do this.
Well, you're not watching the Wemby stuff. Like,
Yeah, I'm
he's
watching
doing
them win
ridiculous
7
things.
games, and I'm watching Chet being the #1 team in the Western Conference right now.
Let's be real, Chandler. It's
There we go.
not Wemby that's causing them to win 7 games. He's playing 25 minutes per game, and he's averaging 26 points in that time frame. Like, it's only so much one man can do. And we're talking about a 20-year-old. He's not Bron. He's not KD. He can't single-handedly put a team on his back yet. But he is one of the most impactful defensive players in all of basketball as a 20-year-old. And his points per minute, I know we're talking advanced stats here, but like his points per minute is on par with some of the best players in ball. And Chet has the luxury to be the third option on most nights. And that's not a knock on Chet, because his efficiency is really good. He's such a good defensive player, but he's trending more like he's plateauing a little bit while Wemby's taking off. And I think that when we come to April, we're going to look at these last 40 games, but like, man, Wemby was playing out of his mind.
For the individual,
beaming
the
right now.
rookie,
This guy's
who's the
good,
better
man.
rookie?
He's
Where'd
unbelievable.
you find this guy?
He's
He knows
unbelievable.
his stuff.
Like, range.
Look at that.
Like
But I
a
do think
computer.
the only way Wemby wins is if Chet goes down with like a season-ending injury.
But
Right now. I
but
think
it's
it's a
not
lock. I think he's running away with it.
rookie
I
on
think-
the
by
best team of
Forget
the
Rookie of the
year,
Year.
like-
Chet is an all-star this year, and he's borderline all-NBA. You don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year?
I
He's the
think
second
Chet
best
has
player on
kind
the
of
best team.
Plateaued a little bit. They have been winning. His numbers aren't as good as Wemby's.
Thank you.
The points
All-star?
per game and the minutes it's a nut stat from Wemby. He's
Yeah, it's weird.
unbelievable.
Important numbers like that.
He's
Weird.
unbelievable, but I think when you look at an award like this, you have to look at everything, and his team is one of the
where
worst
in
teams,
Rookie of
and
the
his
Year
team is one of
Are
the
we not
best
Does it
teams.
say
Are
look
we
at
not doing
everything?
co-rookie of the years anymore?
Oh, I'd be pissed if
I
they
would be
did
kind
that.
of
It's
angry
been
too.
about 26, 27 years since
Grant Hill, J. Kidd was the last one.
Oh, I'd be livid. I wouldn't want it. Give
That
it
would
to
be
him.
such a cop
I
out.
will also say Chet is more available. Wemby has sat out some games.
Yeah, and
to-
Chet's technically it's his second year in the league. I don't want to.
Do you like the Spurs or
no?
no? You like the Spurs?
Shut up.
The true rookie hoodie. So
Yeah.
Chet's not a true
Yeah,
rookie.
he's not a
Neither was
true
Blake
rookie.
Griffin. He still ran away with the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and you could argue that as well.
Oh, would Wemby playing pro since he's 8? That doesn't count for something?
Whoa.
8.
8. God, you're such an exaggerator. Fine, let's stick with the Thunder for 1 second because they played the Wolves. They beat them, and after the game, Edwards was not happy, thought it was very hard to sort of play against them. SGA getting the calls he got. Afterwards, SGA had the post on Instagram with another classic SGA caption, post-game, you know the drill. But we want a rivalry here, so let me ask you that. One, are you here for a rivalry between Anthony Edwards and SGA?
100%. Our league needs more rivalries.
Yes.
Like this season, we just saw the Bucks and the Pacers start to brew. And if we can get two of the top young talents in basketball to dislike each other on court, this is Canada versus USA too. This is everything we can really ask for in a rivalry. I'm here for it. We need Ant. Ant is one of those guys that's always going to talk, and I need him to continue that so we can have more rivalries.
Now, the tough question is, you got to start a franchise today. Which one are you starting
That
with?
is tough.
I think I've just seen Shea do it more consistently over the last couple seasons. So Shea's all NBA he's going to be all NBA again this year. He's top 3, top 4 in MVP. Anthony Edwards still hasn't got there yet. I think he has a possibility to get there, but I'm going to take the proven all NBA player in the moment. And maybe I'll look back on this and say it was the wrong decision, but I'll go with Shea.
It's hard to argue
That's
that.
a tough one,
I'm
yeah.
thinking in my head, how do I argue with him right now? But it's tough, man. SGA, he's done it. He's all NBA.
For
And
sure.
I think is a better two-way player, but SGA.
So the question is,
he's
do you
leading the
think-
league in score. Like he's done it all.
Do you think SGA has he reached his full potential? Or you think there's more for him? Because I think Ant has a lot more room for growth. And I think that's why some GMs make their draft picks of the potential of who Ant-Man could be, and besides the potential of who SGA could be.
I think SGA too is in a great situation where he's 25 years old and he's the vet. He's the leader of this young AAU team that's kind of taken over the NBA. You know what I mean? So he's got the keys. Ant does as well, but he's in a different system. Last year they struggled with the whole Rudy Gobert trade. Didn't work. Now it's starting to pan. Now it's starting to work out. I do think he's one of the better two-way players, but I'm with Kenny here. SGA, he's something.
Can't beat it.
Kenny, All-Star starters coming out on Thursday, tomorrow. Steph Curry currently ahead of SGA, and then in the East, you have Trae Young over guys like
All right, that's
Donovan Mitchell,
stupid.
Tyrese Maxey, your boy Jalen Brunson.
Zaza
That's
Pachulia almost started in the
stupid.
All-Star game one day.
Andrew Wiggins started one year.
Come on
Should
now.
Steph and Trae be All-Star starters?
Nah, it doesn't mean that they're bad or nothing, you know? Like Luka and Shea are literal MVP candidates. Steph Curry's not that this season. Like, I want to see those guys. I think on the guards on the Eastern Conference, I feel pretty good about Tyrese Halliburton being one. He's number 1 in voting. And then that second guard spot, it could be Jalen Brunson.
Come on,
it
yeah.
could be Donovan Mitchell.
Maxey.
But it's probably not going to be Shea. I mean, it's probably not going to be Trae. He doesn't have the same respect amongst his peers as we saw in previous All-Star voting situations. So I don't think it's going to be Trae.
That's crazy to me that could happen. But you're right. We do get some weird pops, and this
We do.
doesn't make any sense. All right.
Well, talking about All-Star Weekend, is there anything that you would like to see change for All-Star Weekend? Something new, something added?
I just want to have the good dunkers participate. You know, I was there in Cleveland,
Instead
and
of the
it
G
was.
League guys?
But you know what? I'll take Mac McClung because
he's
he
back.
made it
He's
happen
back.
last
He's
year.
back.
You know, but we haven't had, other than Mac McClung last year, like a really, really good dunk contest since Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine. And we're just waiting. I think most players just don't want to be labeled a dunker because we saw that for both of those players for years. And then Zach LaVine had to make 2 All-Star appearances before people start to realize that he was really good at basketball. So I just want players to be in it, man. The moment that we get people dedicated, the Jaws, the Zions dedicated, that's when things come back. But I just don't think it's possible. I don't think we can get them there.
So that would be your pick. That's who you want to see, like a.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously helps to get the big player. I would like to see like a one-on-one competition. That's
what I
much
was
better
gonna do.
than like a
a
skills
lot of people want to see
challenge
the
or
king of the court situation.
yeah. Like
I'd love
I'd love
that.
to see Tatum play Devin Booker one-on-one with 2 dribbles. Like you know what I mean? So it's,
Or Tatum against Jalen Brown.
exactly.
You remember that one?
That is more exciting than watch Wemby like go coast to coast and throw a ball through a hole. Like
For the fans.
Why do you hate Wemby?
now watching Chet with Joe.
I'm sick and tired.
As former players, do y'all think that the one-on-one thing would work? Like, would you be able to convince real players to do it?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's
I don't
tough to
think
even
so.
get them to play serious in the game, so I don't know. I said it's not for us. I think it's more for the fans. I think it's more interesting and exciting for the fans to see us play one-on-one. For the players, one-on-one is not that big of a deal, nor do they take it as
It's
serious.
also it's a free way to get exposed too. Like if you
For
don't
sure.
win, you don't
And
play
that's why-
good, you get hurt. There's a lot of negative things that could happen.
That's
from
why.
it.
That's another reason why I don't see guys taking it seriously. They don't want to get exposed. They don't want to.
Pipe dream.
I love this time of year though, because we're always trying to figure out how do we make the All-Star weekend better. We'll figure
Well,
it out.
first of all, don't put it in Indiana.
We almost made it through a show, Kenny. We almost did it without insulting an entire
Chandler's
city.
going to Indy this year.
Yeah, he's going for us.
I could not pay enough.
I gotta clean my garage.
You might get jumped out there.
Okay, so over the weekend we had the Bruce Brown soundbite about talking about playing for Tibbs and the Knicks. He doesn't play for Uner. And DeJounte Murray talking about playing for the Spurs. I don't want to define tampering, but maybe this could be called tampering adjacent. What are we doing with these little moments?
Nothing. I want more of them. Because it shows us where the real priorities lie. Bruce Brown wants to play for the Knicks. DeJounte Murray wants to play for Pop again. Like, being transparent can go a very long way, so we won't get situations where players traded to a team and he doesn't want to play there. So just be
so wild to
vocal,
I love it.
be honest, and maybe we can get you to the place you want to be at.
Right? We all have our dream job.
I guess, man.
Put it
But
out
it's
there.
not like you're not employed by a certain.
If
so
this
crazy
works
to me
and he
being
goes to
employed
the
by
Knicks,
somebody
I'm gonna
and
lose
pitch
it.
yourself to another competing company.
I kind of love it. Look, the Bucks brought in their next wife while the first wife is still sitting there.
so
It's a
crazy.
whole thing. It's
true.
dirty and it's weird and I love it.
Yeah.
Kenny, love having you on. Can't wait till we have you on again. Thank you so much. And we will take a quick break when we come back. No phone calls after 9 p.m. Wemby's my kind of guy. When Run It Back
Run
returns.
it back, yeah, run it up.
Oh, I love this. We got video of Boogie Cousins,
Shout out
his
DMC.
reception in Taiwan. That is overwhelming, to say the least. Man, Danny, are you buying that more players should maybe consider playing overseas, different countries?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, you only get a certain amount of time to play the game.
Yeah.
You know, you can do anything after, well, not anything, most things after you're done playing at 40. So why not? And if you can take care of your family or continue to play a game that you love or do something you love for as long as you can in other countries where they show you that type of love and
Wow.
support, they pay you, they pay the taxes, they pay your agent.
I'm sorry, they pay the taxes?
They give you a car.
They give you a car, they give you a
It's a
place
lot
of
of perks
residence,
there, so,
penthouse,
You had me at taxes.
Yeah.
money on the side, yachts, boats.
Money
My
on the
high
side.
school team, Nick Clayton still plays over there. They pay for his kids' schools. They give him and his wife
a lot of
cars,
different health,
everything.
different insurances, different nanny
Marcus and
situations.
Dwight are like LeBron and KD over there.
What is the
Also
equivalent of
over there,
TV?
it's nuts, man. Like, they are the craziest, most passionate
That was
fans
a
in
heck
the
of
world.
an
You
image.
can't go anywhere. They freak out.
That's okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, for nothing else, maybe extend it a couple more years. Boom, done. Kind of love it. All right, DeAndre Ayton, Iceman, said, "I got nothing to prove in this league. I'm a max player, and I'll continue to be a max player." Chandler, you
No.
buying that?
But no.
Excuse the language.
No, I'm not buying it. First of all, everybody, no matter you're a max player or a min player, sorry about that.
Forgot where we were.
You're always trying to prove something.
always have
And,
something to prove.
even say this is just so soft and so weak and like it's so irritating.
You didn't go to a game because you couldn't get out of your house. Stop.
Come on, man. I
Stop.
don't care who you are.
There's a lot of ice.
LeBron
Stop.
James
There's a lot
is
of
still
ice.
trying to prove something. Like,
He should have sled downhill.
I'm just saying, have you ever heard of anyone not making
I
a
have
game
not.
because of ice?
It is 2024. There's a lot of things I haven't heard of that are happening today.
this kid
But
is
It's a tough
to
bill.
agree with Chandler, yes, you always have something to prove.
Come on.
As a max player, you have to prove night in, night out that you're a max player. Carry that weight, not just only on the court, but off the court, of how you show up to games, your availability, how you treat the younger veterans, how you lead the younger kids, not younger veterans, but the younger kids in your group. And there's a young group in Portland that need that leadership and that veteran maturity. So you should be at these games, finding ways to make it through the ice some way. But showing up.
Helicopter.
quotes like this
Being a max player.
is why you now understand why they traded him, why they had issue with him, why they shipped him to Portland.
Yeah,
because
why say anything, right? Just say nothing. It would be
a lot
easier.
of
If I'm
people,
Portland now,
honestly-
I'm terrified. I'm like, Jesus, we're paying this guy a max contract and he doesn't care. He's nothing to prove. Like, come on, give
Some
me a
guys are
break.
sensitive, you know, and sometimes
Yeah.
the weight of the internet being heavy on him, he felt he needed to say something, chime in. People are all, he's going viral for the wrong things, and
Yeah,
everybody
he
has
is.
an opinion and something to say. So I'm gonna speak on it, and you know, some of the big guys are you know, sensitive, you know, guys.
Very.
And they don't like certain people talking about them.
Wow. All right. Jonas Haslam said on his latest podcast that Duncan Robinson's a better shooter than Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant is obviously a better all-around scorer. Pure shooter, what say you?
I mean, this year, KD, his three-point percentage was extremely high. He was leading the league in most of the season.
Which is crazy.
It was just high 40s, even I think at some point he was in the 50s. But on average, most scorers don't shoot 40% from three for a career. So I don't disagree with you, Donis.
Okay.
Most shooters shoot 40+ percentage for their career. KD is an anomaly. He's different. I think he does most of his years he's shot in 40, but most scorers, even Book, you would never know that he never shot 40% from three.
Yeah.
Like there's certain guys that are really good scorers and really good shooters, but don't shoot 40% from three because they're scorers. Bradley Beal, another one. But I said I can't disagree with him because I'm a little biased. I'm biased towards the shooters. And the reason why you need those guys on your team to do the catch and spot up shooting, for the scorers to have their space to operate in the paint.
At face value, it feels crazy, but it's not.
It does. It's not. It's when you hear it, you're like, is this guy on drugs?
Yeah.
But
You want drugs. This one's for Chandler for sure. Spurs staff, they've been advised to never phone Victor Wembanyama after 9:30 p.m. because that's when he's going to read for an hour. And then he's going to go to sleep. First of all, he reads. I know that's already going to throw you off, but no calls
different
after 9:30.
You know it's really a podcast. It's that he reads. It's a book on tape.
I don't think that's crazy.
It's not.
Audio
First of all,
book.
why would anybody
That's-
on the staff want to be contacting him at
Great
9:30?
call,
So first
yeah.
of all, that's weird. But yeah, I mean, I think somebody eventually is going to turn him out and have him contact him after 9:30 p.m. Unless he's not a Kermit. He's like, he has a life, and he's not going to go to sleep every night at 9:30. He's texting with somebody past 9:30. But yes, I'm buying that. Why would the team just wait till the morning? Like the guy was at the facility all day long. Like there's no reason why a staffer from a team should be hitting you up past whenever you leave the facility, unless they're scheduling
unless it's an
or
emergency,
or
unless a guy's wakes up too late,
or
he
schedule
wakes
change
up-
or something.
Wakes up in the morning to the text
That's
of
fair.
we're getting in, or like you should be here. And I texted you last night, so you woke up to that's the only other reason. But
Also,
hey,
9:30 is not. I mean, 8:30 maybe.
he's still a child.
Yeah, he's
So
grown.
include on the road as well.
Well, no, because then you get I still get them the text about the buses and when you bag pull. All
You're
that.
definitely getting to cities
What?
later than 9:30.
Why are you
I don't know.
smiling?
Shaw's really liked this question.
I wanted to hear Chandler's thoughts. 'Cause
I mean,
I feel-
9:30. What are we doing? He's a grown man. He doesn't have a curfew.
Chandler, you go to sleep around 9:30, right?
I do not.
Well, you
night-
should.
his
'cause
day
we
gets
need to be
started
here
at
early. I'm taking a quick break. We'll be back. You should go to bed by 9:30. You have to be here by 6.
He's going to bed at this time.
All nighter, Michelle.
Run it up, run it back.
Oh, time for a little fitter brick. We got a new haircut.
What is that?
That's
Those
things-
braids?
Oh, are those braids?
Yeah, Luka's got the cornrows.
Oh,
I don't think he should wear those in the game.
I don't
I don't
think
think
he
you should wear them ever
them.
again.
Unless he's in the Bahamas and he's in the
I'm
8th
all
grade.
for relaxing, with your family, away from everybody, away from cameras.
He's cool.
Just
Yeah.
away from kids.
Oh,
What do you
wow.
think of this,
All right,
Michelle?
fair
This
enough.
one's for you.
I feel like any fit that he
Glorious.
wears looks kind of crazy because he's 7'6".
I heard something once. I heard never trust a man in a vest. Is that a real saying?
What?
Someone said
I
that.
don't think that's a real
I
thing.
think you just
Someone
made
said
that up
that
right
to
I
me.
now.
like the vest. I like the vest.
What
Not
about the
bad.
dude
It's
who?
not
There's
horrible.
not many
Plain.
7-footers that can dress. He's doing decently.
And then there's this. It's too big.
He can do no wrong.
No, but that's
can do no
look.
wrong.
He
He
is
can do
high
no wrong.
fashion. I'm not gonna argue, but that is
It's fashion, Michelle.
it's fashion.
He knows fashion. He's a king of fashion. So is this guy.
Yeah.
He's got-
Mania.
I'm out.
They
I'm
know
out.
exactly.
Former Danny Green
They know,
teammate.
they know what the trends are, so I can't say anything about them. They look kind of crazy, but they know the trends.
What?
old
This is
school
clean.
belt
This is
bottom.
clean. This is
What's going
clean.
on?
I
These
might
are
watch
getting
something like this.
outrageous.
Is this real?
Scotty's back in the 70s.
Maybe that
and
was
80s, man.
maybe that wasn't a men tight to say because I
wanna-
feel like I'm
do you wanna go-
tripping right now.
Okay, I'm done. We're
Solid,
done.
that's a solid fit.
No, come on.
Are you drunk?
That's a
Danny,
solid fit.
stop.
Maybe one or two pieces, but all together it's.
Give me the bag. Give me the bag.
Solid fit.
You don't like the bag? The bag's
I
the
said
best
give me the
part.
bag.
Oh yeah, I'll take
That's
the bag,
it.
100%. Sean
That's
will take the bag.
outrageous.
Sean,
It makes
those
you
weren't
feel.
good.
It makes me feel old that's what's dope now.
Well, now you know. That does it for us. Danny's back tomorrow, and we will be as well. Have a good one.
Run it back, yeah, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.